What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Essential Scares podcast, the only show that dares to ask the question, is it essential? I am your host, Corbin, and with me, as always, are Bobby.
Hello.
And Alan.
Good evening. I miss the show being for Santa.
I'm sorry.
True.
It's going to be a long 51 weeks before the next time.
But Alan, he only comes once a year.
Oh my god. Oh boy. Well, this is going to be quite a show for you. We're going to be talking about...
Wink.
one of the many slashers that Jamie Lee Curtis did at the height of her Scream Queen era, Terror Train. But before we get into it, Bobby has a spoiler warning.
I do. This will serve as your first one and only spoiler warning for the movie Terror Train. If you don't want that spoiled for you, skip to the time code ahead in the description for the essential spoiler-free discussion. This movie features a young David Copperfield. Corbin?
He did it, the mad lad.
He went there.
Can I just steal? I sent it to you, but I'd like to bring it back to me.
No, you should. I mean, this was your pick. I mean, you should take it.
I knew nothing about this movie coming in except for like this is the New Year's horror, right? And when this movie airs, right? This fun fact: this movie airs the day before New Year. It's being recorded the day before New Year's Eve and airs the Monday after, right? So as you all know, because these episodes air on Monday, right? And I was like, yeah, this movie's technically a New Year's movie. Let's check it out. And then after I watched this movie today, December 30th, 2021.
Yeah. We all watched it today.
First time we've all watched it on the day of recording.
I think so.
Might be.
I did not have time because we insisted on doing 12 days of horror Christmas.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm here for it because I get to watch all of the Christmas horror movies I wanted to watch. So that's fun. Subscribe to our letterbox for that. But I watched this movie, and then I spent the rest of my day doing my day job, and simultaneously thinking, man, what can I do for the spoiler warning and the breakdown thing at the end? And I had nothing. This movie is like weird because it seemingly defies humor. And like that's my bit for this show, so I don't know what to do.
It's funny too because the movie clearly tries to be humorous a couple of times.
Yeah, the chubby guy. What's his name?
I don't remember what they actually call him.
President or something.
Yeah. I loved him. He was my favorite character. I empathize. Yeah. I empathize with him entirely. If I was going to be a character, I would have been him. Like, he is me as a person. He's the guy who drunkenly goes, "I'm gonna be the worst political guy ever," and like with the girl I love but cannot have him. Like, hey. Legitimately, if you just need to talk, I'm here for you, right? I'm pretty sure producer Mallory gave me a pass on just being that guy. So like, you know, like he's great, but like, man, this movie is so like weird. Like, there's humor in it, but it's so like.
Yeah,
densely serious, which is so weird.
I think part of what makes it weird is that this movie kind of can't decide on what the theme actually is. Like not like the meaning of the movie, but just the style of it, right? So it's set on a train, which obviously brings like Murder on the Orient Express vibes, right? Yes. It is about a group of med students. It's set on New Year's Eve. But it's also a graduation movie. But the movie is simultaneously a costume party. And also one of the main like things about the whole thing is magicians. Like, it's just too many things. It's just too many things that are going on. And you end up getting not nearly enough of any of it except for the train and the magic. Which I think were maybe not the right two things to focus on.
So I would say that I think because of all the focus on the other aspects of the movie, you lose, I think, the horror element of a train setting. Like, I think the idea of
train is a great
horror
setting.
Movie,
Train's a great setting.
Exactly. Yeah. Horror movie on a train works. Like, that's a good idea. The idea behind this movie in terms of, like, this is our setting, great. But then there's just so much. There's just this massive party going on where everyone's getting high, drunk, and who knows what else.
For sure.
Like, it just mixes so many different things that just don't necessarily seem to go together very well. Like, this movie is a glass of Mountain Dew. All right, we all know what Mountain Dew is. It's very okay. And you know what you did? You put cream into it. You ever put cream in a Mountain Dew?
Have you?
Yes, because
Why?
Look, I was in college once, okay?
Alan, what the fuck is your problem?
Who made you do this?
Okay,
Cream
so first
into
and foremost,
Mountain Dew?
Hold on.
Do we need to call Ben back?
No, wait, pause. Wait. The idea that he asked, like, we would say yes to that question.
I know. You guys know, like when you put cream in your Mountain Dew.
Cream in Mountain Dew before. In the sugariest of sodas, you've put sugar milk into that. Yeah, of course you have.
Okay,
you guys never just mixed your heavy cream into your soda before?
If you do it, you get this weird mix of nonsense that kind of curdles but doesn't fully curdle.
Of course it curdles a little bit.
It just becomes this whole mess. That's what this movie is Mountain Dew and cream. I'm telling you.
What is this, a virgin car bomb? I mean, what were you trying to do? I don't understand.
This is not a good metaphor. This is not a good metaphor.
Please, if you're listening or watching this and you at all have ever done this, tweet at us, send us a message. I have to know that he's not alone in this because this is insane.
No. You know what? You know what? If we ever get to the point where we get merch, we will save anybody who DMs us that they've had cream and Mountain Dew, and we will give them free
that shirt
merch.
for free.
For free. I don't give a fuck. It's done. It's a done deal. I will remember this in my brain.
I did not drink the cream and Mountain Dew concoction.
This feels like you're on the back foot now. I don't believe you. Surely you've tasted it.
I don't want to name drop the person that did it, but
I already did. It's got to be him, right?
It's not Ben. No.
Okay.
He's someone I know through the fraternity, but let's.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Of course it is.
They're disgusting and they deserve to be beaten. I'm moving on from this awful point. But to your point, this movie really does squander the claustrophobia of being on the train.
Oh, absolutely.
Just trying to make this serious even for a second.
There is a cool idea here, right? Costume party on a train with one killer. You write that down and like that's a great concept, and they totally do not take advantage of it at any point.
You could even throw the magician into that script or like magic and it still works. Like it's not gone off the rails yet. I think where it goes off the rails is the tone is kind of just like here, there, here, that like there's not enough consistency throughout where when it veers off the path, it veers so hard to one direction or another that it kind of loses the magic that it really is holding. In itself.
This movie is weirdly like Animal House meets Halloween, and like, but also like it sort of even recognizes that Animal House you shouldn't be rooting for any of the main characters.
Yeah,
and like so this movie is weirdly ahead of its time, but also not. Like it's so anti like frat culture, like it's weirdly sex positive, like in a weird way where like they mention the fact of like both Doc and Mitchie are in a polyamorous relationship and they're both cool with it and everybody around them is cool with it, like like they mentioned that, and like even though like they mentioned it right before Mitchie dies, which is all kind of the morality play bit of it, like there is like that representation, which is really interesting. But like, so like there is stuff to like value in this movie, but also like they squander a lot of the opportunities. And just to get ahead of it for you two gore fiends, because I also noticed the gore is frankly subpar in this movie, and that's from me, the person who least gives a shit about the gore.
Yeah, I'll say that as someone that does care about it, subpar is putting it nicely. And I bet Alan
putting it
would agree.
Far too sincere. Yeah. The gore in this movie is a fucking joke.
I think that there are 2 kills that you see occur on screen, and they are fine. I mean, probably the best one in the whole movie is the very first one when that guy gets run over by the train. That's very funny.
Yeah, it's very dark because
I thought
it
that was setting a tone. That was setting a tone.
I do agree with that.
The rest of the movie squanders. And I think that if they had shown some of those kills, like they might have been able to keep that going. But they don't.
The closest they even get to that same level of gore is with what is his name, Jackson, that gets his head smashed. Like that's not even. But that's like I know what you mean, but that's as close as we get. Yeah. Like.
No, I mean, that guy. Okay, that kill legit is the worst in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Partially because that actor is not good, and partially because like you don't really get much from that. Because like,
what else do you get in any of the other kills?
At least the other ones you have
Mo get stabbed.
No, but you have like dead bodies that are like pieces, you know.
Yeah, but even something. but Mitchie's is not great, right? But like a lot of it is more the build up where you know something bad is going to happen. Like I say Mitchie and Doc's, like the gore is not there, but like if we're talking about kills, some of those kills are really like cool because it's not about the actual like, oh my god, you're seeing a throat get slit, or oh my god, you're seeing a decapitation. You're seeing like the emotion, like where this movie really does find its strength is in the character and like the efficacy in which this movie is acted. This movie is acted is actually shockingly well for a movie that is so bare bones.
That's true.
Like it's done really well. Like every character is believable. You don't go into this thinking, "Oh man, this guy's bullshit." Like you go, "Oh yeah, I buy that. This character would do that." Like they've established that Mitchie is Polly, so Mitchie will do that. Doc is kind of a dickhead. Doc will do that, right? Ed is that Jamie Lee Curtis's boyfriend?
Something
no,
like
that.
Mo does everything you expect him to, where he's the good boyfriend, where like he gets upset and goes, fine, I'll fucking hang out with these people, but I'm not going to cheat on my girlfriend. Like everything makes sense with the way the characters work. It's written fairly well. It's just not executed super well, I would say. It's written and acted super well for a movie that is not executed super well.
The one thing I would say to not counter, but like, I feel like if you take Jamie Lee Curtis out of this movie is entirely forgotten. No one would remember it. The only reason I think it's really brought up is because you've got like the Scream Queen herself, like in prime time. I mean, what, Halloween comes out in 1978. This is 2 years later in 1980. I mean, like, if you take her out of the film. It's this
prom night Halloween in reverse order, right?
Yeah. I think in that.
It's not like whoever they would replace her with would just ruin the whole film, but I think that like no one would really even remember this movie remotely. Like it doesn't do much.
I don't
outside of that.
I don't disagree with the fact that like maybe we would have forgotten about the movie over time, but I do think that there were other horror actresses at the time that would have done just as good. I think that the movie itself would have been as good with someone else.
It just wouldn't have been as noticeable.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Because, like, okay, so, like, I don't think any of us are going to here deny that, like, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, like I come out of this being like, I didn't discover Jamie Lee Curtis as a horror actress until I was old enough to be not afraid of the movies that she was in. Right, like the first movie I discovered her was Freaky Friday. Jamie Lee Curtis is a fantastic
That
actress.
actually might be true for me too.
Yeah, like she's so good. She's very good. She's very good at what she does. She's a very good actress. Everything that I've ever seen her in, I've been like, yeah, I fuck with Jamie Lee Curtis in a hard way.
Is she in that?
Which one?
She's in True Lies. She's
that
really good.
That might have been the first movie.
She's really good in
True
True Lies too.
Yeah.
She's really good in True Lies too. She's just a really great actress.
She's great. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So to your point, is like this movie is a jumping. It's one of those movies that, like, you know, it's this prom night, The Fog, and obviously Halloween that like kind of are like her bouncing into mainstream stardom. But that being said, like, this movie isn't just her. And I think that, like, I think it's fair to say that a lot of the main actors and actresses really did fucking act their asses off. They really did. Like, they tried in this. They really did try.
A lot of these other characters are actors that I couldn't name, and I don't know if I've ever seen them in anything else. And they did great. I mean, the guy that played
they
Doc,
should have
he's
been in other
most
things,
of the movie. He's pretty good. I'm sure he's in other like horror movies, and you just don't notice, you know. But I agree with that. I mean, I think that this movie is strange in that way because the acting itself is kind of, it's just better than the rest of the movie. Like, the movie doesn't quite get there, like the sum of all of its parts, but its individual pieces are pretty good.
If I can make a dumb theory,
Sure.
I think the reason this movie doesn't work is it combines it's in a weird state of being not a slasher, but also not the slasher Halloween, and also not a giallo, which it is kind of like trying to be, where it's trying to be kind of like this murder mystery, and it tries to be it's a hat on a hat on a hat. And it's like, oh, it's very clearly influenced by Italian horror, but it's also very clearly being like, oh, John Carpenter really fucking rocks. I love John Carpenter. And then it's like, well, but like horror movies like right now is like very like Friday the 13th, right? We have to do these, like, we have to do Friday the 13th. We have to do My Bloody Valentine. We have to do this type of thing, right? And then all of a sudden it kind of, you throw all of them together and be like, this is what sells versus this is what I want to do versus this is what Jamie Lee Curtis is good in. And then it kind of doesn't reach it, even though like the sum of its parts is really good. You're left reaching for those other things, which is why it doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, you're gonna say something?
I was gonna say, Alan, what does Alan think about that comment?
Oh.
I don't know that I would say it's better than the sum of its parts. I don't know. I
didn't say it was better than the sum of its parts. I said it's as good as the sum of its parts, but the sum of its parts wants you to grab something else.
I don't know. I have one line written down that I thought was genuinely funny and made me laugh a whole lot, to totally pivot to something different.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Oh shoot, where is it? Oh god, it was the train guys. Oh no, where'd it go?
Imagine saying that you had a note ready and then not having a note ready.
I said I had it written down. I did not say that I had it ready. So the conductor is with the train operator, like the actual guy driving the train, and he says to him, he's like, so you think trains are the way of the future? You must read a lot of science fiction. And just the way he delivers that line is so offensive to this guy. Like, he just really cuts into this man. And I genuinely just laughed real hard. Like, that bit of comedy worked perfectly.
Isn't that right before he says, when was the last time you saw a train stop next to a mall or something? Which, like,
it's in that same sequence.
Totally dates the movie, right? Where, like, having something near the mall was, like, the epitome of culture at the time.
Yeah.
So like, I have 2 points for this, right?
Yeah.
Point A is, so, like, the conductors were kind of right, though, because, like public transit is becoming much more and more important in the 21st century. And 2, it's kind of lame that both conductors die off screen for no sort of payoff whatsoever.
You don't even find their bodies.
No, they could be anywhere.
I mean, maybe they got thrown off a train and lived.
And like, I like the guy who's like, this, they don't build them like they used to. Trains are dope. I'm like, yeah, trains are dope.
Yeah, that guy's like so into his job.
Hell
He's like,
yeah.
You know what?
Hell yeah for
fucking
loving,
cool.
Yeah.
loving how you work. Fuck yeah, dude. Good for you. Like, I'm big about that.
You mentioned it, so I have to bring it up now. How did we feel about that shot? Okay, so the killer, right? Who is revealed to be the person that you thought he was the entire time.
Love that.
I love that you
Love
get
how
that.
that
You get that 5-minute sequence in the beginning of the movie that obviously sets someone up to be the killer, and then the whole movie is like, who's the killer? And you're like, well, isn't it that guy from the beginning? And they're like, maybe, and then it just is. So he he gets kicked out. He gets kicked out of the train, right? And then he survives. And then there's a shot of him crawling on the side of the train, like sideways. Jamie Lee Curtis is like lying down, and he's like sideways looking through the window. And I wrote down, I was like, okay, how is this possible?
So, do you guys remember in the Discord when I said this movie lost a point near the very end? That was the point.
Okay,
the point
wait.
Where it lost it.
I thought it was very funny. I was just like, I don't understand, but this is hilarious.
I want to defend this. I want to defend this on 2 points. One, the implication throughout the entirety of this movie is that David Copperfield is Kenny, the guy, the killer.
Well, yes,
right? The entire
that is
time.
true.
Yeah, but they're the same person, so it's not how did he get here, right? But like 2, right? The idea is like that, like he is full of like he knows how to do like illusion magic, which means he like in the 1980s, late 70s, early 80s is a well-guarded secret at this point. So they can be like, well, you know, a lot of people can do a lot of things that people
so you
fully
think
don't
he used
understand.
Magic to climb on the train sideways?
No, so I'm
Train
saying
moving
like
80 miles an hour in the cold.
So I'm saying the thought is, more than anything, is that like he was using the power of illusion. He had the abilities to do what magic. This movie isn't insinuating that magic is real. They're insinuating that they wouldn't understand that you and I wouldn't understand the magic trick that would require them to get back.
I had to stand up because
fair.
What
That's
the
fair.
hell are you even saying?
No,
I don't.
No, I get it.
What?
I get it. Yeah, magic.
You
like,
get
there. It's hard. I think that's actually one of the hard things about this movie, because magic, and not like Harry Potter, but like magic, like magicians in real life. It was in a different place culturally 40 years ago. And
yeah, dude, you didn't have that PBS special with the masked magician who was like, "Here's how the magic trick works." You remember what I'm talking about?
I know
The masked
exactly what you're
magician.
talking about.
This was before that time where like magicians were like, "Yeah, our magic tricks. You don't get to fucking know what they are because
they
it's
even say that.
magic.
They even bring that up in the movie, because the train conductor
So that's
is
my
like
point.
an old retired magician, and he's like, well,
Okay, his trick, great, 10 out of 10 trick. That whole
So my-
that
very
guy is
funny,
great.
very funny. I
So
love
my
that.
point is, before you stood up like some sort of asshole, was like people didn't get it, and so they're like, well, maybe a magician had like cool things that he could like be like, look at me, I can climb on
This
this
does
because
not,
okay, that's fair.
This does not compute for me
And
in
so-
any capacity.
and so like I'll be honest, Kenny being the magician's assistant was in all honesty, I was like, that's really cool. I like that twist.
I will be honest, I didn't see that coming.
Exactly.
No,
I was
neither did I. It
surprised.
was a
Like,
good twist, right?
When they were like, "Oh yeah, I was there, but I was this person," I was like, "Oh, okay, hats off." I did not see
everything
that
makes
coming.
and it all makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
sense because she's never around,
Yep.
and he's
and like
never
the one
looking because
the
he's
one
a,
kill with like the fingernails, right? Which they
Yeah.
totally obviously they're implying that it's the assistant, but you're meant to assume that they're just in it together. So no, that was strange.
no. So what I got, because he says Mitchie is like the implication is he has Mitchie. It's the dead hand implication. It's a prank this whole time.
I could see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because
Did
that was a
think,
common thing throughout the whole hand thing.
As a side note, like, did anybody think that this was going to be like an April Fool's Day and that it was just going to like be a big joke?
Oh, like that episode, like the Thing episode of Futurama where everybody's still alive at the end.
Yeah, like because there were several points where like, and especially because they weren't showing the kills, there were a few times where it was like, oh, the body's disappeared. It's like, oh, that guy's actually alive. It's like, what if this is just a big joke? Like, they're shown to be pranksters. There's magicians. Like, wouldn't it be funny if at the end this was just a huge like practical joke on Jamie Lee Curtis? I would have loved that. That would have been very.
So
engaging.
the only reason why I didn't feel that way is because it wasn't considered an April Fool's movie.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like so like
it would have been so
the
random for a New Year's Eve movie to just be like, yeah, it's just a prank, bro.
New Year's prank, my dude.
So I want to go back real quick to the reveal of Kenny as the assistant.
Oh, sure.
I was already checked out. I already was like, I hate this. I hate what I just because the idea of this person even being able to get back onto the train in any capacity after he was kicked off a moving train.
Well,
I
he
was
shot his web
out.
shooter out, so he
he's
never actually.
Spider-Man.
He was actually on the train the whole time.
I
That's
forgot
why
he was Spider-Man.
He climbs on the train sideways.
It's also
and
nighttime.
then they also
Listen.
recreated that scene, or rather, Spider-Man 2 recreated the iconic scene from this movie.
See,
I missed
Sam
that. My
Raimi,
bad.
Hey,
or director.
You know what? I'm gonna fight this. It's dark. They can't see. He could hold on to the ledge.
I'll say him surviving getting knocked off the train the first time, that didn't bother me at all. I was like, okay, he grabbed onto the train. Whatever. Like, who cares? Like, people do that all the time. I've seen countless people get knocked off of a train and then suddenly grab onto the train. Like,
many cowboys.
Who cares?
So many cowboys.
I don't know if you're allowed to be a cowboy if you haven't done that.
True.
What bothers me in this instance is this movie is, I mean, obviously the magic side of things. I'm going to use the word grounded. But, like, there's not really a lot of, like, throughout the rest of the movie, there's not a lot of other, like, that's totally impossible happenings.
I don't know. Kenny lifted up Doc at 190 pounds, 6-foot man, and stuffed him into that locker. Like, anything can happen.
Honestly, didn't even think about that.
And Kenny is a weakling.
Yeah.
He's a beta male cuck.
Yeah, that's like in fact his entire story.
They give him a weird hat because he hasn't had sex yet.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That just really stuck out to me as like so preposterous that by the time we get this reveal, I was like, "Oh shit, you got me!" But I don't care because you shouldn't. You fell off a train, bro. Like what the hell?
He didn't because when he
did eventually.
When he fell off the train. When he fell off the train, he fucking died. Like hard died.
I'll say that they got me with that scene when he actually gets kicked out of the train. The whole movie pulls every single punch with the kills. And then
when he lands next to the water,
they just go for it. And I was like, "Oh
so
my god,
good! It was so good. It made
he's in the water for like 20 seconds. Like they show the whole thing. It was perfect. I loved that.
It made it worth it. It didn't actually make it worth it, but for that moment, it's like, damn, they pulled so many punches for him to have his neck break on the ice and then just float down the river. Yeah. It's like
I love
that worked. That worked for me hard. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll say the scene that didn't work for me hard, and I think which killed the claustrophobia more than anything, is a scene where when she's in the conductor's quarters with Jamie Lee and Kenny.
Yep.
And like that entire scene does not feel claustrophobic because he spends so much time like breaking out the lights.
Yeah, why does he do that
it's
over
so
and over
it's
and over and
it's
over?
too slow. It's just way too slow. Where it's like,
and then there's like no payoff because it's not like he's slinking around in the dark for more than 5 seconds.
No, yeah,
Well,
and she stabs him. She stabs him with the receipt thing, and it's like, that scene feels like it should be scarier than what it is, because she's like trapped in a cage or whatever. But it's like, man, like I've been feeling claustrophobic this entire movie just with like because they spend so much time in the sleep car and stuff like that, where it's like that is legitimately claustrophobic, and how tight those cars are. Like that's like scary when you're like in the context of like there's a predator amongst you. And then you get into that car, and it's like she's got all of this room in this space, like, and she goes into a tinier space.
And she gets she's in the shark cage. It's like, oh, she's safe now. Like, I once she locked herself in there, I wasn't worried even a little bit. It's like, oh well, what's he gonna do?
I'm like, and plus I'm like, oh man, I would have like, and like again, the benefit of hindsight, knowing that like Jamie Lee doesn't die in this movie. I don't know a movie where Jamie Lee does die,
honestly,
except for Halloween. Except for another movie.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I can think of one.
Yeah, I stopped myself from spoiling a different movie. But like,
wow.
That I feel like we talked about this movie spoiling it's like claustrophobia, which I think is like the real scare of this movie.
For sure.
And that's the scene that does it. I feel like that's the scene that really ruins it.
I agree.
Because like the murder mystery, I think, pans out in a really cool way. I think that like in the same, and I feel like the same way that like the horror on the train pans out in that same way that the murder in the Orient Express really pans out in the same way. It's the claustrophobia that really loses you, and that's the stuff that really made this horror instead of mystery. And I feel like that's why that scene really takes you away from it. Does that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's just my main thought on that.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that totally. Yeah. No. But you know what? Hey, I'm actually totally ready to rate this movie. Are we?
Same.
Are we ready?
I think I'm going to do it. Yeah.
All right. I am going to do my best. I'm going to do the classic prediction model here.
Okay.
Going from highest to lowest.
Are you giving exact scores?
No.
But
everyone, of course, is going to give a score between 0 and 5 with half points allowed. Obviously.
I love that. Yeah.
But Bobby is going to go first.
Highest to lowest?
I think so.
Okay. I'm struggling. I didn't hate this movie, which makes you want to give it a 3. But this movie, I feel like is a 2.5. I feel like it is at the end of the day a really middle of the road movie. I didn't hate it, and I would watch it again. Which kind of breaks my 2.5 status. So I'm going to give it the toppest of 2.5s possible. It's still a 2.5, but if this movie let us have quarters remaining, I would give it a 2.75. It would fall just outside of my 2.5 range. So it's 2.5, but it's an edge case. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's just very middling for me. I frankly agree that if Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't, if the original Scream Queen wasn't in this movie, I don't know if I would feel the same way about it. Just because this movie's flaws. Yeah, but she is, and this movie is well acted with and without her, so it's kind of in a weird spot. So 2.5 out of 5.
Okay,
it's a good middle road for me. Yeah.
All right. So this one is tough for me. I knew that would be the top end. I'm gonna toss it to Alan next.
This movie was a 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 2.5 through and through. It was riding right at that middle road of mediocrity. Not doing anything great, not doing anything hyper offensive. And then it throws at me this preposterous situation of some man living being kicked off of a train. And I was yanked so hard out of the movie that I was yanked out of my soul, all right? Doctor Strange punched me into the spirit realm, okay? That's how hard I got hit out and pulled out of this. So it's a
Watch
1.5.
Wow.
1.5 for me. I think it can't be a 2 because 2 has meaning. 1.5 to me, it is just not something I think that is really worth your time. I think that if you take out Jamie Lee Curtis, this movie would be easily forgotten in the onslaught of movies that we got in the 80s. It's well acted. There are parts of it that are fun. There are parts of it that are funny. The twist works. Like, these things all work for me. But that single moment of just ripping me out of the movie so hard is just unforgivable. 1.5.
Wow. All right. Okay, so not totally off. Yeah, Bob. Bobby's face is almost concerned looking. I also am giving this a 1.5, but not for the reasons that Alan did. This was never a 2.5 for me. I simply never liked it that much.
No! Didn't like it. 1.5. All right, on to the essential bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, is it well acted? Like, yeah. Do I like the scenarios? Yeah. But I just didn't like this movie, like, honestly, at all. And do I want to watch it again? No. Is this going to be a New Year's tradition for me? No. It doesn't even utilize the New Year's holiday in the slightest.
It really
there's not
doesn't.
even a
totally
countdown.
Fair.
There's like one sentence where they're like, yeah, New Year's graduation, and then the movie happens. It could have happened on any random Saturday. I don't know. Everything that I said during the spoiler review, I guess I got nothing to add. I just didn't really like it. 1.5.
So we have had a frankly middling opinion of this movie.
Yep.
But is it essential?
Mm.
You know what? I'm
question.
stealing Corbin's role.
You should.
And I'm going to say, Corbin, you go first. Is this movie
Sure.
essential?
Yeah. I'll go first. Spoiler free, of course, as always. Is this movie essential? As I guess I'll say, as 95% of the time. Sometimes we do mess it up. Is this movie essential? No. I'm just gonna come out and say it right away. No. I think that it's well acted. The people in this movie, the actors do a good job. It's not slashy enough to be an essential slasher. It's not mysterious enough to be an essential mystery. If you're even putting together a list of essential Jamie Lee Curtis movies, I would say just watch Prom Night instead. For me, it's just gonna have to be a no. I don't think so. I think you can skip this.
Alan, you go second.
Okay. Hard no. I really don't have much to add. I did not enjoy being ripped out of this movie. And there's just so little that I think it really does to set itself apart from other movies you could experience in the time. That it just doesn't really. There's not like a defining. There's just not. Its defining thing is Jamie Lee Curtis is in the movie.
Okay.
And that's not enough. No.
So we've gotten 2 hard no's. What I'm going to give this movie,
I guess,
is a soft no. Right? and you might be asking yourself, well, what does that mean? I would say that in the lexicon of horror movies, this movie probably is not forgettable, but like second or third tier. It's not an essential. It's not. But for the lexicon of Bobby horror movies, this movie is one of those baseline movies of like, movies better than this, Bobby likes. Movies worse than this, Bobby no like. Right? This movie was good enough for me to be like, yeah, I fuck with this. But like, it wasn't good, and I probably won't seek a movie of this ilk out again. If it happens, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I like that. That's fine. But movies that are like worse than this, like that don't have the charm, I'm like, either this is like has to be so bad that it's funny again, but like movies that are like of this ilk but slightly worse, it does not work for me. Then in the ways that like other people who have like really liked this movie, like again, I feel like this movie is slightly better than like say any movie in the Friday the 13th franchise. Movies slightly worse than this.
Any movie in the Friday the 13th franchise.
I said what I said.
I know you said what you said. I'm just putting a mild
Jason
asterisk on it.
to differ.
And that's what I had in mind. I was like, oh, part 6 is pretty solid.
you put your asterisk on it. I said what I goddamn said.
You think this is better than Friday the 13th, 2009?
I feel like, frankly, this is on par with Friday the 13th, 2009.
All right.
I do feel that. Where
you
it's
think
like
this is better than Freddy versus Jason?
Nothing is better than Freddy versus Jason.
No, I don't feel like this is better than Freddy versus Jason, but Freddy versus Jason, spoiler alert, gets a 1.5 out of 5. So yes, it's worse than Freddy versus Jason.
It's worse, but also
I have
better.
a question for you,
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
How many Hellraiser movies are worse than this movie?
Frankly,
like 6.
wait. Let me count.
How many?
Yeah,
are
no,
there?
yes,
No,
like
six of them, right, are worse.
Six are worse than this movie. Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to be clear on that.
I
was trying to quickly remember how many are there, and then I was like, okay, Bobby likes these ones.
I like, how many are there, and how many does Bobby like? I like 4 of them. There's 10. Yeah, no, it's way worse than 6 of the Hellraiser movies. So it's not good.
So that's your gauge now, basically. How many Hellraiser movies are better or worse than insert movie here? Is it essential?
Hey, to be fair, very many movies would be better than 10 Hellraisers. Yeah. Like that is a scale that you can work on.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a 10-point scale, basically.
How many movies can this movie be carried by Doug Bradley is the real question. It is a 10-point scale. He is correct.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, the answer is no, but the answer also is, hey, it's a litmus test for mediocre horror movies. If it's better than this, it's probably a movie worth mentioning, even if it's not making the essential list.
Well, there you go. Well, hey, speaking of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, what is everybody up to lately, and where can we find you? Bobby?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to anything, you can find me at twitch.tv/theredweenie. All my relevant socials are there, although I am very sparsely on. I'm not a very online person, despite the fact that I am also simultaneously terminally online. I'm what they call a lurker. What I've been into lately is I've been watching the newest season of The Witcher. As most of you know, I'm super into wrestling. So I've been getting up to date on my wrestling stuff. Corbin has forced me violently after Warhammer 40,000 into playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and so now I play the Oziarch Bone Reapers, which are basically buff skeletons, which is cool as hell.
What do they want?
They want more bones. So that's what I've been into, building, and then obviously the things that I've been doing most oftenly is I've been playing Halo and doing Destiny content with these two assholes that you can find me on Sundays streaming on twitch.tv/theredweenie, as I said before. That's pretty much it.
Nice. I love that. You can find me anywhere at Horbangarang. I'm pretty active on Twitter. I've been much better about posting my hobby streaks. I'm up to day like 40 at this point, if you're listening.
Hell yeah.
As of recording this, I'm on day 37. I have managed to keep this going for longer than a month in ways that I don't understand how I managed to do that, but here we are. I tweet about Halo and Warhammer and whiskey, so follow me there if you like that. I've been playing Halo and Destiny, and of course building Warhammer on the side. And I also started recently Far Cry 6. Alan bought it, and we game share, and he bought it because we played Halo Infinite campaign, and it got us into a open world shooter mood, and it's totally scratching that itch. I love it so far. I'm only like
it's working
an hour into
really
it,
well.
but I really like it. Yeah, I really like it. And I don't have anything specific to say on it, but right after we get off of this, I'm going to go watch the Book of Boba Fett, episode 1.
Ooh, that's a good move.
Alan?
You can find me at a seal punter just about anywhere. I got this rad shirt from my wife. It combines two of my favorite things, Kiss and horror now, into kill. It's awesome. Like, this is... Love the shirt. She also got me a Jason Lives shirt. I got all sorts of cool shit for Christmas. But the only really new thing in my life is I picked up a Switch OLED today. I traded in my old Switch, had some Christmas money and a GameStop gift card. So I picked it up for like $15 out of pocket. So that was really nice. Boy, does that make a difference, having that OLED panel. It's really nice. Not much else going on for me. My update on my dinner, it went well. Made a solid ham.
Mine was good too. I made my own glaze, despite my own best wishes.
Now, I opened up, so I got to my dad's place. I got everything ready the night before, opened up the fridge, saw the ham, was like, oh great, cool. Next day comes, I make my glaze I make my glaze ready to go, so that when I pull that ham out, I then look more closely, and I see that in the bag that the ham is in, there's a lot of, like, brown sugar looking material.
Pre-glazed!
It's pre-glazed!
He lied!
I was so mad!
That is karma coming at you for being so hard on the glaze. Yeah.
Well, and, like, I didn't know what to do, so I just basically was like, alright, well, I'm just gonna put bourbon over this ham and call that it, because it was already pre-glazed, so I wasn't gonna add, like, double glaze. Too much.
You should have, yeah.
It would have been too much, but
no,
it was a hit. It was fun. It was good to make dinner for the family.
Cool. I didn't even think about that. So I ended up making my own glaze because I had to, because the hams that I bought didn't come with a pan.
I love that.
But that was fine, because when I make my own, then I'm re-glazing it like every 40 minutes in the oven, so it's totally different.
Oh yeah.
You're also playing Far Cry, right?
Yes, I'm a little farther in it than I think you are, because I've gotten off the like tutorial island basically, so I'm on the mainland.
The last thing I did was build my first gun.
Yeah, I'm a little bit past that. It's a lot of fun. Like it is scratching that open world itch, and it's also like Far Cry is one of those games that you don't need one every year by any means. And I haven't really gotten into Far Cry and played much of them since like Far Cry 3. Like I played a bit of 4, I've played a bit of 5. I played a lot of Primal actually, oddly enough.
Primal's really super cool though.
I enjoyed Primal for no real reason.
There's a reason. It's because you play as a caveman.
I mean, I guess that's true enough.
That is a reason enough. I didn't play those games, but that's really cool.
Yeah. Like I didn't put time into 4. I really didn't like 5 one bit, because you get this silent protagonist. That's not what you want in Far Cry. That is just so antithetical to Far Cry. 6, you get this character again, and you have your.
Who did you pick?
I went with the female version.
So
I almost always pick a female character in every video game I play. Almost always.
I used to pick a lot of male characters, and I kind of hit the point where I was like, most games don't give you the option, and when they don't give you the option, it's usually a male character. So I started just picking the female characters to like mix it up.
My simple thought process is video games are like escapism and not reality. I'm a man. Hi, nice to meet you.
I've definitely gone that angle a few times.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like the way I look at it, like I'm not a woman. let's play as a woman. That's cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's that simple for me.
The voice actress for the female character is really good.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I feel like in general, when you have two voice actors, it almost always seems like the female voice actor, like,
for real,
just
Assassin's Creed,
Assassin's
Mass Effect.
Creed.
Femme Shep, yeah, Femme Shep is
Shep.
way better.
Femme
Way
Shep
better.
is like,
Jennifer
it's-
Hale's so
That's like
good.
night and
it's
day.
aggressively better.
Let me be clear. I always pick the guy first, but yes, the female voice actor is almost exclusively better. Yeah.
I try to pick like whatever I feel is probably the canon option, and the female character was the one in all the trailers for Far Cry 6. I was like, that's probably what they wanted, so that's the one I picked.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I haven't played Far Cry 6, so I have no idea. So
It's
It's
pretty
fun.
cool.
It's
You're,
also like
fighting
$25
against
on
a-
sale right now at like any store.
That's
yeah,
cool.
but I could either spend money on that or spend future money on Elden Ring.
That's true.
That's fair.
He
That's
also
totally fair.
remember, Alan, that you and I are playing that post Halo Infinite, and Bobby still has not played Halo Infinite campaign.
I haven't.
So he could just play that.
That's true.
Honestly, you should. It's great.
I might.
You should fuck around and find out.
Fair. Oh man. Anyway, you know what? That about wraps us up for the year for 2021.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah.
we did it.
The end of our first calendar year with Essential Scares. We didn't get a whole year, only 6 months. So 2022, we're coming at you with a whole year, and we're changing a couple things up a little bit. You can follow the podcast anywhere at Essential Scares, and you're going to see some new schedules by the time you're listening to this. Every month for the year, we're going to have a new theme. Starting in January, to celebrate the release of Scream 5, we're going to look back on some Scream ripoffs from the 90s.
Yeah, we are, baby.
For the entire month of January, which is pretty cool. First up, we're watching Urban Legend next week.
Yes! Yes!
I'm pumped.
Yes!
This is definitely one that I think you either love or hate. And you probably are getting the vibe so far.
With how excited Bobby is, I'm fully expecting to hate the movie.
You should. You should fully expect to hate the movie.
I think the honest truth is that everyone should hate it. But
Yes!
sometimes you just simply don't. Yeah. Anyway, thank you to Alan and Bobby for being on the show with me this year. I've been your host, Corbin, and this has been Essential Scares.
Happy New Year, baby!
Yeah.